Right wing back is a position that we all know Bradford City must do some more recruitment in before the end of the 2026 summer transfer window. And in today's video, I'm going to go through and suggest that 5 different players that Bradford City could sign to compete with Josh Neufville in that position. If you do go on to enjoy today's video, please make sure to drop a like on there for me and subscribe to the channel as well. If you are new, can we try and hit 200 likes on today's video? And don't forget to get your thoughts in down in the comment section down below. Rank these 5 players that I do go on to suggest from best to worst that you'd like to see Bradford City sign down below, and any other further suggestions as well that we don't mention in today's video. Apart from that, let's waste no further time and get straight into it. Now, as I'm sure we're all aware by now, this is how Bradford City squad is currently shaping up ahead of the 2026-27 campaign. We can see here that Josh Neufville clearly is the only natural player to play in that position at this moment in time. We have seen throughout pre-season so far George Lapsley get a lot of game time in that role, and also Harry Ibbotson has played a little bit in that position. But obviously last campaign we had the likes of Brad Halliday and Harrison Ashby really competing with Neufville, but for the large part he was our main player in that position. I think he showed that on his day. He can be one of the best wing backs in the entire division. We saw from the first couple of months of last season what an incredible player that Neufville can be. I think in the end he finished with 3 goals and 7 assists. 10 goal contributions in your first real season at League One level is a really strong return, but Alexander likes 2 players for every position. According to David Sharp, we're only looking to sign cover in this position, but let me know what you think down below. Should Bradford City be looking at potentially bringing in another right wing back to really compete with Josh Neufville as the starter, or do you think we should be looking at somebody like a Brad Halliday type to just kind of be that backup and coming off the bench for every couple of matches for 15-20 minutes when Neufville needs a bit of a rest? Let's move on then to my suggestions. Firstly, we're going to go with Tristan Rowe from Aston Villa. He is 19 years of age and I think would be available on a loan. Spent last season out on loan in the French second division where he played 30 times. 25 of those were starts, where he played just over 2,200 minutes. He got 1 goal and 2 assists in that time, but did manage to create 7 big chances. Defensively, he kept 8 clean sheets, which is around 1 in every 3 matches, contributed to 1.7 tackles per game, 4 balls recovered per game, and 1.7 clearances per game as well. No errors which led to a shot or a goal, no penalty offences committed. Dual stats could do with a little bit of work, not great, particularly in the aerial duels, but I think available on a loan transfer. Only 19 is not the expectation for him to be playing week in, week out. I do think it would be a smart pickup for Bradford City. Dexter Lembikisa is my next suggestion. Apologies if I have absolutely butchered his name, but he is available on a free transfer. I think he has just been released by Wolverhampton Wanderers. Again, only 22 years of age and has had a decent amount of League One experience in the past. I don't think he'd be coming in and expecting to be a regular starter for Bradford City, but could certainly provide a different option down that right hand side. Obviously last season was out on loan with Lincoln City, I think only in the first half of the campaign, where he really struggled for minutes, just 3 sub appearances and only 39 total minutes played. But in the season prior to that one with Barnsley, he managed 12 appearances and again 3 starts in that time. Was okay on the ball. Defensively wasn't amazing, but again, you're looking at different types of options here. Obviously Dexter here would know that he'd be coming in to be the backup, but having previously played at League One level, we can see here very strong in the ground duels, wins 57% of those, has a 47% successful dribble rate, only wins 35% of his aerial duels, but from a crossing point of view, 32% accurate cross rate. He has got some attributes here which certainly would suit a Graham Alexander system, and given that he's available on a free transfer, only 22, so again lots of development and growth still to be had in his game. If Neufville is to move on next summer, for example, for big money, then having had a year as an understudy to Neufville, I do feel like Lembikisa on a free transfer would be a decent pickup for Bradford City. Diego Nelson is available on a free following his release from West Brom's academy. He is now 20 years of age, and for me this is kind of like my 5th suggestion out of all of them. Unfortunately with SofaScore you don't really get many in-depth statistics from the Premier League to Division 1, but he played a decent amount of football last season, 19 appearances, 14 starts, playing over 1,350 minutes. But thankfully, FotMob is a place where you can see a lot of his stats. You can see here per 90, he doesn't rank great in a lot of these stats compared to a lot of other players in the Premier League 2, but we know we're only looking for cover. If you want somebody to come in and know they're not going to play at all and just provide a little bit of cover while still having a little bit of competence about them, I feel like this wouldn't be an awful signing for Bradford City. You can see that some of his defensive stats he does stand out quite well in, especially interceptions, recoveries, clean sheets per game, all that sort of stuff. They're really not awful, but for me, this would be like kind of a last resort. We just need to bring a body in. Would be available for relatively cheap. I don't think he's had any previous experience out on loan in the EFL or anything like that, but available on a free, relatively cheap wages. I really don't think it'd be a bad signing. But if you're looking for the opposite end of the scale, for somebody to come in and maybe even be a regular starter for Bradford City, osei-tutu certainly could be that man. 27 years of age, available on a free transfer following his release from Championship side now Bolton Wanderers. Obviously, he was part of that side that did knock us out in the playoff semi-finals, and obviously, we all know about the quality and ability that osei-tutu does possess. Incredibly talented football. We saw that last season in League One with Bolton, where, I mean, he was up and down that right hand side a lot. Can also do a job on the left hand side as well. 36 appearances, 29 starts, playing just shy of 2,600 minutes. He scored 2 goals in that time and also registered a further 2 assists. You can see his passing stats are fantastic, nearly a 25% accurate cross rate as well. Defensively, again, he's not the greatest, very similar to Josh Nerfil, incredibly strong going forward, but defensively can leave a little bit to be desired at times. Just 3 clean sheets, just 0.6 interceptions per game, but 2.4 tackles per game, 3.1 balls recovered per game, 1.9 clearances per game as well. He did have 1 error which led to a shot, 1 which led to a goal, and 1 penalty offence committed, but very strong in the duel stats, wins 55% of his ground duels and 62% of his aerial duels. That is a really strong return for a man who's around 5'9", something like that. Hopefully I've not done him a little bit of a disservice as a fellow man who's also under 6 foot, but I think the wages will obviously be a bit of a concern here. David Sharp has previously said that there isn't really much more money for Bradford City to be spending. It's a completely different type of option to the last fella that I suggested. I've completely forgot his name. He would be coming in as kind of like a last resort, only really play when Nerfil's kind of coming out of the side, but then you're banking a lot on Nerfil. If you want to have real strength in depth and competition, then osei-tutu absolutely is the man to come in that position. But if you're to factor everything in, game time, wages, availability, the perfect signing I think Bradford City could make this summer as that competition backup for Josh Nerfil would be James Rousewell on loan from Tottenham Hotspur. Obviously, you're not going to need to spend a transfer fee given that he's coming in on loan, and Spurs would probably be happy to cover a lot of his wages. At 20 years of age, you'd think that he'd grown physically a little bit. You know, he's not like he's 17, 18. He would have certainly grown into his body at 20 years of age, and again, probably will be available on a loan deal. Again, with SofaScore, you don't really get many of his statistics, so we go over to FotMob, and we can see a lot of greens here per 90. If we have a look in total, he got 2 goals and 2 assists last season from right back for Tottenham's under 21s. You can see here, successful cross rate, 33.3%. That is a really strong return. He created 13 chances last season. He had a near 50% successful dribble rate, which is a really, really strong return. In terms of his duels won statistics, that's at 63%. Again, that is academy football, so you'd expect that to not be as strong in the EFL. But defensively, look how much green that we're looking at here. In terms of defensive contributions, out of any fullback to have played in the Premier League 2 Division 1 last season, he had the 3rd most amount per 90 of defensive contributions. That is, again, an absolutely incredible return for someone who's so strong going forward to be so strong defensively. I think available on a loan would be the perfect pickup for Bradford City. Contributed towards 4 clean sheets, and if we're having a look at per 90, you can see 2.4 tackles per 90, over 1 interception per 90 as well. You're looking at over 4 balls recovered, over 4 clearances. Just a really, really strong return. return. Discipline very strong as well. I think just 3 bookings, no red cards as well last season. Obviously, you'd expect him to be coming in on loan, and that would then mean Bradford City squad would look something like this. Right wing back for me is the biggest priority that Bradford City need to sign before the window does close. We know that we still need a centre back. Could that be Reece Welch, who has apparently been offered a deal by Bradford City, and also a number 8. We've only really got Sarcevic and Lapsley who can naturally compete in that position. But as always is the problem with signing these Premier League youngsters on loan. They're only recently, or probably still on tour, doing their parent club's pre-season tour, which is in America or Asia or all these different types of places. And given that we've just had a World Cup, I know there wasn't really that many Spurs players who did go, but somebody like a Rousewell certainly could be called up by Spurs for that. I haven't looked too much into detail, but as always with these Premier League loans, they do tend to come kind of right before the season does start, or even when you're well into the season, you're looking at right towards the end of August sort of time. But I think when you factor everything in, like I've said, with game time, availability, cost, wages, all these type of things, I do think he is the perfect well-rounder. There's all sorts of different types of players available in this video, whether it's free, whether it's loans, whether it's big wages, whether it's cheap wages, whether it's a lot of game time expectation, whether they're happy to be a backup. There's loads of different things that can be considered, and I'm sure whoever we do bring in to fill in that position at right wing back, David Sharp, is probably going to get it spot on. He normally does with a lot of our summer business, but we need to use the loan market a lot better this season than what we did at last campaign. Near enough every one of our loan signings last season was a failure. I don't think you can really argue any of them were a success, if we're completely honest. But anyway, I'm going to leave it there then for today's video. If you have enjoyed, please make sure to drop a like on there for me and subscribe to the channel as well. If you are new, can we try and hit 200 likes, as I said at the start of today's video? And don't forget to get your thoughts in down in the comment section down below. Let me know down below what would be your number 1 realistic transfer target for Bradford City to sign this summer in that right wing back position. Thank you all very much for watching today's video. Have a great rest of your day, and I'll see you very soon for another one.